All right, chapter 10, what you need to know. So I've kind of summed up what's on the exam. There was a lot more in the chapter, but one bit at a time. A parabola is one variable squared. So that's how you can tell it's a parabola. I've got two examples here. This first one has the y part squared and the x part is not squared. So that means that this opens on the positive because this number here is positive. Positive 8 means this is positive on the x-axis, the unsquared part. So I sketched it there. It would point toward the positive direction on the x-axis. The vertex of this is found like the center of any of the other shapes, so it would be -4, +1. Then I did one where the y is the unsquared one, so that means it opens on the y-axis. This negative number means that it opens down on the y-axis. Its vertex is 2, -1. That's all you need to know to be able to identify one. On the test, you need to be able to know where its vertex is. Remember, the vertex is just kind of the point where it changes direction. So that you need to know that, and you need to be able to find its vertex, and that's it. An ellipse has both variables squared and they're added. So here's an example. Both variables are squared, not just one, and they're added. Its center here would be -3, 4, and it opens so that it's elongated on the x-axis. The x-axis is the long side because the number under the x is bigger than the number under the y. I did one that goes the other way. Its center would be 2, 0 because nothing is subtracted. This one opens along the y-axis. The long side is along the y-axis because the number under the y is bigger than the number under the x. For a hyperbola, both variables are squared and the two things are subtracted. So here's an example here with the subtraction, both squared. This one's center is the -3, 1. And its bigger number, this part is a little tricky. This one has a 6, this one has a -4. So the bigger number is always going to be the one in front because this one is positive and the second one is negative. So this one opens just like an ellipse along the x-axis. Each of these pieces hugs the x-axis because the number under the x is bigger. This one, on the other hand, it has a center of, be careful, they're reversed, -7, 4. And this one, because the number under the y is bigger, it's going to go up and down. So it's going to point the y direction, hug the y-axis, because the big number is under the y. This one looks bigger, but that's a trick because +2 is bigger than -12. And then last, just a little bit about circles. You can tell those because most of the time they don't have the denominator, and also it's going to not be equal to 1. But again, both variables are squared. They're added together just like an ellipse because a circle is just a special version of an ellipse. So this one has a center of, they're reversed again, be careful, -8, 2, there's its center, and it has a radius of 5. That's all you need to know for the exam about this chapter.